I'm just going to share my screen. Now, this is class C. In class A, first 8 bits are used for network. In class B, first 16 bits are used for network. And in the same sequence, in class C, 24 bits, first 24 bits are used for network. Correct? That's why I have written here network bits, network bits, network bits. Okay?
Excuse me, sir. I think
Yes,
you
please.
are not properly voice connect.
Coming. Everybody is facing problem?
No, sir. Your voice is clear to me.
No, sir.
Your voice is clear.
Okay, fine. So, my dear friend, if you are facing some problem, just disconnect yourself and connect again. Okay. Now, in class C, total 24 bits are used to define different network, and only last 8 bits are used to define different hosts in a network. This point is clear to everyone? Piyush, please respond.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Piyush is not responding. Okay, thank you, Muzaffar. Mahfouz, sorry. Now, on the basis of the above diagram or boxes, finally, how many networks can be formed in class C? The same thing we will do again. This total number of networks is like 20,97,152. How this value come? How does this value come? Just I'm going to do calculation. Look, 192 to 223. Total value is 32. Is
Yes,
it
sir.
correct?
But we will include 192 also.
Yes. And then from next group, total value is 256. Again, next group, because here we have to use three groups, first three groups into 256 is equal to 2097152. Fine.
Yes, sir.
To define different network, if we will make any change in the first three groups, that change will give you different. Correct? Now in class A only, if you make change in first group only, then there is different. In class B, if you will make some change with first group and second group in any group, then there is a different. Now in class C, if you will make change in first three groups in any first, second or third, then there will be a different. Means there are too many different networks, but in each different network, number of hosts is less compared to class B and class A. Fine. How many hosts can be attached in a network of class C? Only one group is available to define different hosts. Then the total value is 256, and as earlier we have reduced -2 just because very first IP is used for network IP, and so very last IP is used for broadcast IP as a broadcast IP. Means total 254 hosts can be connected in a single class C network. Fine. Any doubt? Any doubt? Nobody is responding. If you have any doubt, please raise your hand. Or you can simply say that, sir, repeat your statement again or sentence. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Everything is clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then why are you all responding so late? Fine. Now the default subnet mask of this class will be 255.255.255.0. Fine. Why 3 times through 255? Because three groups are used to define network. Fine. Now I'm going to show you some example. See, this is the first network example. I have taken value 192.168.0. These three value defines a network. But in second group, I have taken value 192, 168. These two values are similar, same, same. But in third group, I have used 1. Means this is different network.
Yes, sir.
And in third example, 192 is same as same if you will compare it with the first and second example. And 1 is also same as I have used this value in second network. But I have made a change in second group 170. It means this is
Yes, sir.
again different network.
Another group.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So now these three are different networks, and in these all networks, the very first IP will be 0 and very last IP will be 255, and very first IP is used as a network IP address, last broadcast IP address, and rest all IP addresses means 1 to 254
Valid
are valid host IP.
host ID.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
now this is class C. Then what is class D? Look, in class D, every group is used to define different networks. But what is the meaning of network? Network means collection of nodes, collection of multiple IP addresses. If all groups are going to represent as a network, it means there is no host. Clear?
Yes, sir.
There is no host.
Yes, sir.
Just. Fine. And its range is, class D range is 224 to 239.
Yes.
0 to 255.
0 to 255.
0 to 255.
0 to
0 to 255. Fine. But this one is network bits.
Yes, sir.
Again, network bits. Network bits. Network. If all are representing as a network bits, it means there is no host. Then what is the use of this class? See, all 32 bits represents network, no any host bit.
Yes, sir.
So it is used only for multicast transmission, multicasting. Initially we have studied that IPv4 supports unicasting, multicasting, and broadcasting. So we have seen unicast IP, we have seen multicast IP. Right now, we are
Yes, sir.
seeing
Only
multicast. But this multicast IP cannot be used by any user. This IP cannot be used for configuration of any node. With the help of this IP address, one node cannot communicate to another node. Actually, these IP addresses are defined or assigned to different services. For example, there is a protocol OSPF. OSPF is a routing protocol, and in this routing protocol, 224.0.0.5 and 224.0.0.6, these two addresses are used because OSPF works on multicast. Same thing happens with what is going on?
This noise is from Monu Kumar.
Hello. Now see, RIG version 2, this is again a protocol that works on multicasting, and it uses 224.0.0.9, EIGRP 224.0.0.10, NTP 224.0.1.1, DSCP 224.0.0.12. These are few examples which has some multicast IP address, and with the help of this IP address, it performs tasks that are based on multicast. But we cannot use this IP address. If we are going to use this IP address, our computer will prompt invalid IP address. It will not be accepted. So class B is only used for multicasting, and these multicast addresses are assigned to different services. Now this class is clear to everyone. Class D.
Yes, sir.
सर इसका यूज फिर कहाँ होगा सर?
I have already given example, a written example here also. You can see on the screen. I have shared my screen. It will be used by different services that works on multicast.
सर जनरल लाइफ में अगर कहा जाए उसका कौन करता होगा? तो हम लोग नॉर्मल ऐसे ये बता देगा कि ये इनवैलिड है, तो इसको यूज तो कोई ना कोई तो करता होगा सर.
Sir, do you use any protocol?
Yes sir.
Which protocol? Like DSCP? Because most of the time you get connection to any network, and in that network you get an IP address. But that IP address is provided. Hello. That IP address is provided by DSCP, and DSCP also works on multicasting, and for this multicast transmission it uses 224.0.0.12. Now I can show you just. This is my command prompt. I'm just going to put here a command. Now see, this is the ARP table. I have used command ARP space -a. You can also use it. You all will see that yes, there are some multicast IP addresses like see 224.0.0, 22, 251, and 252. All these are multicast IP.
Yes sir.
This one is also. Your system is also using multicast IP, but you have never assigned this IP address to your system. Two 22. Just see my notes. 22 IGMP. IGMP protocol works on our Windows machine. That's why, and it works on multicasting. That's why you are seeing here, yes, 224.0.0.22 IP is available in my system. I am working with CIMAGE network. That's why I am getting this much of IP list. 2.1, 22, something. But in the whole network, if there is a requirement of multicast transmission, then which IP will be used? These IP addresses will be used by different services. We can only unicast, we can only broadcast. Fine. Hello. Now, what about class E? This class is not used for any purpose. Defined by the developers team, they have just assumed, okay, fine, we will use it later. That's why in few books you can see that about class E, writers have written it is used for scientific research, scientific development, etc., etc. But nothing could be done with class E. Finally, we have we have new version of IP, that is IPv6. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. In this way, we have just discussed about class A, B, C, D, and E. In all these 5 classes, now it is very clear we use class A, class B, and class C only. Class D cannot be used by normal user. Class E is not used. Now, we will do some extra exercise again for class A, B, and C. Actually, I have given you theoretical concept that, okay, fine, class A range is 0 to 127, class B range is 128 to 191, and so on. But in class A, B, C, there is a concept of reserved IP address. Fine. What is reserved? Reserved IP means some IP addresses have been reserved for some specific purposes. For example, in class A, 0 series is reserved for default route. Now, what is default route? Anybody has any idea about default route?
No, sir.
No. Okay, fine. Just see. I'm just going to draw a diagram. Fine. Suppose this is ISP and these are few internet service. Fine. Suppose this is a router. And with this router, we can get connection on wired and wireless, both network. Fine. No. Suppose there is a user. This user has now internet connection And with the and uh, uh, with the help of internet service, it can search for any network or any services, any website.
Yes, sir.
You cannot say, no, you can search for Facebook, for Google, for YouTube, for Flipkart, only three. If a person is using any internet service, in that case, that person is free to hit any website. And different websites means different network. Flipkart network is different, Amazon network is different. If this user can hit any website, and there are thousands of lakhs of networks in the world, lakhs of websites in the world. In this case, if this user will hit for any website, then his request will go to his request will go to this router.
Yes, sir.
Fine. And this router will help you to go to that particular website server.
Yes, sir.
And that particular website server is supposed that it is present here. Particular website, multiple websites, but I'm just talking about one website. Then this router should have information about this web server. And this information is kept into the routing table. Router has routing table in which it keeps information about different networks. Fine.
Yes.
Okay, fine. This user hit a particular network, and this network information is available into the router. That's why its request goes to this particular server,
Yes, sir.
from this to ISP, and then ISP to the server.
Yes, sir.
So in this way, if this user should be free to hit any network, in that case, router should have all network information.
Yes, sir.
And if this small router will try to keep information about multiple networks that are available in the whole world, in that case, its routing table size will be too much large.
Yes, sir.
And from that large table, if this router will try to get some information, then it will take too much time.
Yes.
Overall, your internet connection will be slow.
Yes, sir.
This is the one point. Now the second point is this type of router, small router, which cost is very low, which configuration is very low, is not capable to keep this huge database. In this case, every user should have a very good configuration router. But if every user is going to buy a high configuration router, it will be too much costly for the user to get an internet connection.
Yes, sir.
But now in these days, it is very common that people are having internet service in their home, office, and everything.
Yes, sir.
All these are possible with the help of a very small router. How? Because at this router, what is the real scene? At this router, root is only 0.0.0.0. These zeros represents all networks, means any network. Any network which has any subnet mask, means if user will try to hit any network, this router will allow. Okay, fine. But where the request will go? Request will go to ISP.
Yes, sir.
Fine. And ISP is capable to handle this huge database because its setup is too much large.
Yes, sir.
That's why class A 0 series has been reserved for default routing. And with the help of this default routing, we all are enjoying internet service at very low cost.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, installation charge will be 40 lakh, 50 lakh rupees. Now, what is the installation charge right now? 3,000, 4,000? Everybody is getting my point.
Yes, sir.
Only Mahfouz is getting my point. No one else.
No,
Are
sir,
you
we
all
are
facing
all
some?
getting your point.
Sorry, Harsh.
We all are getting your point.
Also, sir.
Okay. Fine. This is the concept of class A first
Reserve. Yes, sir.
reserve type. Now, again in class A, one more series, that is 127, reserved for look back testing. What is look back testing? Loop. You all know what is loop. You are using different languages to make programs, to develop an application. And in all those programs in language, you have studied about looping.
Yes, sir.
Do and while loop, do loop, for loop,
Nested loop. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
nested loop, if else conditions.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Loop means repetition of work again and again,
Yes,
as per
sir.
the number of value you have given. Sometimes you have done mistake. In that case, there is an infinite loop.
Yes,
And
sir.
this infinite loop is a problem of your bug of your program.
Yes, sir.
Fine. But this loop back testing, loop back term is very helpful for us if we have to test our services. For example, our NIC is working well or not. I have to just check. Without any physical connection or Wi-Fi connection, there is no any connection. But I have installed driver of my NIC, and I have to check that my NIC is working well or not.
Working or not. Yes, sir.
For this testing, 127.0.0.1 IP has been mentioned with the operating system, with the driver files, and this IP address is 127.0.0.1. I'm just going to show you. Just give me 1 minute because I forgot. Um, etc. Yes, etc. Almost. 27.0.0. It is not. Just give me post. Yes. Now see. One 127.0.0.1 IP is present, and you have developed web page. Any web page?
Yes.
I think you have tried to run it through your browser also.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Have you seen at the URL
Yeah.
that what is the URL of your website? Anybody who has cared about it?
Didn't scared completely, sir, but something written in IP form, sir. Dot 127 dot. Not clearly noticed about it. What is exactly written there?
Okay. Next time you will have to see it.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, then you will find that there is an IP address 127.0.0.1, and just beside the IP address there is a slash and then written local host. You have no any web server. You have just created a page and tried to open it through the browser. Then this is a loop back testing. For this testing, this loop back IP is helpful. Now I'm going to just ping my machine. Command prompt. Ping 127.0.0.1. Yes, it is the time. But the fact, what is the fact? And fact is, my connection is with CIMAGE College 22 something. This is network name. Now I'm going to right click on it. Status. Now details. In details, what am I seeing? I'm just seeing there is an IP address 192.168.2.82. My
Yes.
IP is 192.168.2.82, but I am able to ping my machine with 127.0.0. How is it possible? It is possible because this IP address is already available in my machine. So if I have pinged my machine with 127.0.0.1 IP, it means I am just doing loopback testing. Clear?
Yes.
So class A 0 series and 128.27 series, both series are resolved. Now, any question? Any question, my dear?
I don't think so, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir. Question will be discussed offline class.
Okay. Look, in my view, there is no difference in offline, online for lecture delivery and for understanding any topic. Fine, I'm just going to stop my today's session.